you have to think about, are you really broadcasting? Are you creating community? Is this a one-way conversation, which lecturing is, which just drives me crazy? Or is this creating an environment for there to be conversation? And to me, if you look at it that way, if you make it almost second nature in what you're trying to teach and what you're trying to get to, and as you pointed out at the very beginning of this, you can get sucked into this and you can you watch puppies, I watch really stupid nerdy stuff on archaeology in Great Britain, which you would think, okay, Chuck, where are you going with that? But this whole notion of it, we migrate to things that we find interesting.
Yes.
And the more multidimensional you can make instruction and instructional materials and conversations and all of that, the less people are going to think about it and they're just going to dive in and feel comfortable
Yes.
with it. And, I think as we wrap this up, I guess what I would say to everybody as an instructional designer or a teacher or a trainer or subject matter expert, whatever you happen to be, don't look past social media. Don't look past YouTube. Don't look past Instagram. Don't get caught up in the negative stuff associated with it. And don't think about, if you go back to this, you can go back to the 20s when we first started making movies and saying, well, I'm never going to see that in teaching or in education. Yeah, good luck with that. And so here we are. So let's make the best of this. Let's utilize it in ways that are good for our learners, which is the thing that we always focus on. And, if you got a problem with it, think it through. Because most of the time, I think if you really look at it abstractly and don't think about the negatives, if you can find negatives, I personally anymore can't find too many negatives about it. I'm just so into using it now for teaching that it's second nature to me as an instructional designer. But I know others are struggling with it. And
I think that the most important thing, the most important takeaway from this, if you are struggling with should you be using social media or how should I be using social media to teach, it always goes back to the learning objectives, doesn't it? Does it match? Does it relate to your learning objectives? Are you connecting it to that? And if you can say yes to that, if you can find a way to connect how you're teaching, no matter what the medium, to your learning objectives, then you're going to have a lot more success and your students are going to learn. They'll have that learning transfer that you're looking for, that mastery over the subject at hand. And so that's really, you're bringing value. That's another thing. Just make sure that whatever you're putting out there, you're doing it because you want to add value to your learners.